Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I will be breaking down the big storm system moving through this week with heavy rain, snow, and a severe weather side. Then two intense storm systems looking likely through next week with rain, snow, and possibly some widespread severe weather. And then we'll also look ahead to the long range weather forecast. Will the South see cold and snow? Much more on the long range forecast later in this video. Looking at the current alerts out here with our current storm system, we have winter storm watches up across southwestern Wisconsin into eastern Iowa. We have high wind watches and wind advisories across the western and central Ohio Valley down into the Tennessee Valley, and also flood watches across southern Missouri into much of Arkansas through the next 24 to 48 hours. And it all has to do with this storm system as it moves up from the southwest, from the southern plains into the mid-Mississippi Valley region. We're going to see a lot of that precipitation take place today and across much of the Great Lakes and into the Northeast as we head into the day on Thursday. But if you guys are with me here on this video, definitely hit the subscribe button down below and the like button. It's that thumbs up button down below the video. Definitely hit both, especially if you want to get daily weather forecast updates each and every morning at 9 a.m. And to spread more of this information out to more and more people, I definitely would appreciate if you guys would hit both buttons down below. But as we go through today, we do have a severe weather threat to talk about. The Storm Prediction Center has hoisted a slight risk, a level 2 of 5 on the scale for portions of southern Arkansas into far east Texas, much of Louisiana into Mississippi, and even that marginal risk extends all the way up into eastern and central portions of Illinois as we head through later on today. And we also do have that 2 to 5% shading for tornadoes across the lower and middle Mississippi Valley regions today as well, with the damaging wind risk and at least a lower end chance for some quarter size hail across the mid and lower Mississippi Valley region as we get through the day today. So breaking this down around the noon time frame, we do have some scattered showers, a few thunderstorms across the Arklatex. A lot of these will be probably sub-severe, but we could have some occasional stronger thunderstorms with some smaller hail, some heavy rain, and also potentially some stronger gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour. But by the time we get in toward the 6 o'clock time frame this evening, a lot more of the severity of these storms will be on the rise. We could have more damaging winds, a few tornadoes, and potentially even some smaller hail with this as well. Some of the hailstones could get up to around quarter size, and then that will press its way eastward. And by the time it does reach the middle Tennessee Valley here, down across Alabama into northwest Florida, it will start to lose its oomph. A very unfavorable time of day. We'll be seeing 6 o'clock a.m. on Thursday. A lot of the instability will start to wane with this, so I think the severe weather threat will be ending from west to east across these areas. But we do have to be concerned for damaging winds, especially with given the HRRR model's rendition of the 500 millibar mid-level jet rounding the base of this trough. We still do have some significant winds here, and the low-level jet will be still something to talk about as well. So we might have a few tornadoes to watch out for across the Arklatex and then the central Gulf Coast states through this evening. So definitely want to be on high alert across these areas. And if I do have to go live later for the severe weather potential, I will. So we'll definitely be looking out for that. But as we go into tomorrow, look at the calm ahead of this low pressure system. We definitely have a very nice, powerful low pressure system at the surface. We got the deformation snow band setting up here into the upper Midwest. We have that occluded system where we're seeing more of the winds across the Ohio Valley here, and then that cold front extending south to the Gulf Coast with the heavy rain and severe weather potential. Just a powerful low pressure system. And what we see with the winds up here, we have high wind watches for eastern Illinois, north central Indiana, far southern Michigan, and northwestern Ohio, and then wind advisories farther south all the way down toward the Nashville area and Crossville, Tennessee as well. And you can see with this, our near surface winds going into the morning hours on Thursday, this is around 6 a.m., are going to be out of the south and west ahead of the system, anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour sustained. And also the low level jet with with this system, just a few thousand feet up, are going to be screaming out of the south-southwest anywhere from about 60 to 70 knots. And that does mean some of these wind gusts in the low levels will be mixing down the momentum toward the surface around 6 a.m. on Thursday. So we might have to watch out for those 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts reaching the surface across Indiana here, getting into Ohio and parts of Kentucky and even eastern Illinois as we head through the day on Thursday. But then we have the cold side to the system as well. The colder air will be wrapping around the backside of this low pressure system, getting through the early afternoon hours on Thursday tomorrow. And looking at the temperatures here near the surface, it's going to be very marginal. We're going to see temperatures in the low to mid 30s up here, barely supportive of snow, but just enough so to where we will have that solid stripe of some heavier snow. In fact, the National Weather Service offices up here into northeastern Iowa and southwestern Wisconsin have already put the potential for heavy snow up with a winter storm watch across these areas. This includes La Crosse, down through Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, Dubuque, Iowa, and then farther southwest toward Iowa City and Cedar Rapids, Iowa through the day on Thursday. The reason why we say this is going to be a narrow zone of heavy snow getting across northern Missouri, eastern Iowa, into southwest Wisconsin through the 6 a.m. time frame. But as we get through the noon hour, much more of this will start to change over to snow with the dynamic cooling with this low pressure system here as it pulls in that colder air from the north and west. And then by the time we get into Thursday evening around 9 p.m., we're going to see more of this continuing with some light to moderate snow rates through the evening hours and into Friday morning. Now, looking at the snowfall accumulation from Thursday into Friday, we're going to see a narrow stripe of snow. And again, if it deviates a little bit farther northwest or southeast, that could mean the difference between no snow in some areas to potentially half a foot of snow in some areas. So definitely a key to look at there. But zooming this in general, we could have a solid 3 to 6 inches with localized 7-inch amounts here from southern, southwestern Wisconsin into far northwestern Illinois, and then backing its way southwestward into eastern Iowa and northern portions of Missouri going into that Thursday and Friday timeframe later on this week. By the time we get to Friday, the system will be on up into portions of Quebec, Canada, and we'll say goodbye to the system besides the rainfall into North Florida and southern Georgia with the cold frontal boundary with this on Friday. And we'll see much more of the high pressure system starting to work in across the Rockies and the much of the Great Plains going into the day on Friday. Looking at this though, Friday into Saturday, with it dropping some rainfall across, or some snowfall rather, across southeastern Canada, we could be talking about a solid 3 to 6 inches up here as well from southern Ontario into south central Quebec and potentially upstate Maine as well going in towards that Saturday time frame. Also with this, you can see lots of heavy rainfall here from Illinois down through portions of the Arklatex and much of the southeast as well. A lot of areas are going to be seeing over an inch of rain, if not over 2 inches, especially centered on southern Missouri, north central Arkansas down toward Little Rock, and portions of northeast Texas and southeastern Oklahoma through the height of this event. And this goes all the way through Sunday, February 12th. By the time we get toward the middle of this month, we still are hanging on to the above normal temperatures across the eastern 2/3 of the country, and we're going to see a lot more troughs digging in across the Pacific Northwest and diving south and east toward the Four Corners, and that's why we're going to see the below normal temperatures out west through February 17th, and very active. We're going to have a couple of storm systems moving across the middle of the country going through next week. And this is going to provide us with well above average precipitation centered across the Arkansas area, getting up into portions of the Missouri Valley as well through that 17th time frame. So looking at the vorticity signature, now this is up into the mid-levels, and you can see our first storm system exiting as we get toward late this weekend. Our second storm system we're watching here going across portions of the southern California region all the way south into northwestern Mexico on Sunday. And then our third system moving up up across the Aleutian Islands, that's going to be diving south and east with time as well. So the first system we're seeing next week is going to be moving across the southern plains into the Arctic, and then the second trough will be diving in the Pacific Northwest early next week on Tuesday the 14th, and then another system will be moving in across the Missouri Valley late next week as it dives out of the Pacific Northwest into the center of the country by the time we get towards late next week. So ahead of the first system here on Tuesday the 14th, we're going to have a lot of warmer air preceding the system, so we're not going to see a lot of snowfall from this. It's mainly going to be for some heavy rain and severe weather. And then as we get to late week, we're going to still see the warmer temperatures out east, but a sharper gradient in the temperatures as well, and that does mean a more intense low pressure system could develop. Whenever you see these very tight gradients in the temperature profile here at the surface, you definitely could expect some more intense low pressure systems to develop and a snow side in the colder air as well. So starting off with the first storm here on Monday, February 13th, we'll start to see more heavy rain here again across north central Texas around the DFW Metroplex, Wichita Falls on up toward the Oklahoma City metro area on Monday. That will spread eastward on Tuesday. We might have to watch out for heavy rain, but also more widespread mode of severe weather across the lower Mississippi Valley on Tuesday, especially when we got the dew points rising into the 50s, low 60s out here across portions of the Mississippi Delta region, and we're concerned about the mid and low level jets as well. We're going to have a lot of strong kinematics with this system by next Tuesday. We're going to have that mid-level jet rounding the base of the trough again, anywhere from about 50 to 100 knots in these areas, and also the low-level jet is going to be around 65 to 70 knots, which is very formidable for tornado genesis as well as we get towards early next week. And that's why I'm concerned about the potential for severe weather going into Tuesday, February 14th. It's possible in this orange shaded color, but I think much more likely if you live into southeastern Arkansas, north central Louisiana through much of Mississippi, and west central Alabama, want to be on high alert through early next week for severe weather and all modes of severe weather as well. We're talking about isolated tornadoes, damaging winds over 60 miles per hour, and yes, potentially some quarter-size hail, and of course some heavy rainfall and frequent lightning as well. And then looking at this, speaking of the heavy rain, with the first storm, we're going to be dropping more 1 to 2 inch per hour rainfall rates across the Arkansas area, getting into East Texas, eastern Oklahoma, and much of the lower Mississippi Valley from that 13th through the 15th time frame. But the snow is going to be lacking. We're not going to have a lot of cold air with the first storm, so all the cold air will be across the Pacific Northwest and the north central Rockies, and we could be seeing some heavier snow into Wyoming, southern Montana then during the 13th through 15th time frame. But by the time we get toward the middle of the week, we got that second trough diving southeast, some snowfall across the Rocky Mountains here on Wednesday, February 15th, with the first system moving off the East Coast. And then on Thursday, a very powerful, potentially low-pressure system moving across the Missouri Valley as potentially a 993 millibar low. You got the warm sector of the storm with some severe weather and heavy rain to the east, and then potentially another heavy snow event across portions of east-central Kansas, up across central Iowa into southwest Wisconsin yet again by the time we get into Thursday, February 16th with that second system, and then that will move up again across southeastern Canada and upstate portions of New England by the time we get into about a week's time or so on Friday, February 17th. That system will also be producing heavy rain during the 15th through 17th time frame, a little bit farther north as well with the heavy rainfall here across the Missouri Valley, but we also have to watch for heavy rain across the southeast with severe weather. Also a snow side to this as well. There are differences in the models. The European forecast guidance is showing a narrow stripe of potentially over 6 inches of snow here from the Central Plains on up through Wisconsin and the Central Great Lakes region, but also the Canadian model is a little bit farther northwest with this, into northern Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, into western Iowa here, and then back down towards the Central Plains with this system. And just looking at some of the ensemble models here, the GEFS here, we are seeing a little bit of congruency with the European model and the GEFS, so I do favor more of a kind of middle of the road type of track track with this system. So I think the higher confidence of heavier snow will be up here across southern Ontario, through northern Michigan, the UP of Michigan, much of Wisconsin, down through portions of southern Minnesota into portions of Iowa here, and eastern Nebraska. But there's still medium confidence here in this lower blue, this lighter blue type of shading here as far south as central Illinois, northern Missouri, getting into southern portions of Kansas as well as we get through that 15th through 17th time frame. Thereafter, though, we're still talking about the potential for an Arctic blast going through that last week in February. We got the southeast ridge still alive and prevalent across the southeast, where we're going to organize the colder air across west central Canada during that 21st through the 28th time frame. We'll also have an active storm track across the eastern two-thirds of the country. Probably a lot more rain than snow with this track across the east coast, especially the I-95 corridor. But as we get into the first week in March now, from the 28th here of February through March 7th, we're going to see still some warmer than normal temperatures across the eastern two-thirds of the country, and just a glancing blow of an Arctic blast across the upper Midwest here and the Great Lakes regions by the time we get in towards the first week in March. Well, to recap my weather forecast for you guys, a big storm is on the move this week with heavy rain, snow, and severe weather, especially across the deep south with the severe weather. Two intense storms next week with rain, snow, and possibly widespread severe storms, especially with the first of the storms here, the first of the two. And then the long-range weather forecast, it looks like the south will miss out again on the cold and snow here as we get towards the end of February. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Wednesday, everybody, a great rest of your week, and I will see you all in the next video.